Can you hear me? Or maybe you turn down. Okay, so I actually discussed with Alan about like the site that we picked, the 52 to 55 lot, as it is like currently under construction, like there's real thing going on, but he said like it's actually not a really big deal since
for design charges. It's
yeah,
okay,
yeah, and I think that like since we are like proposing a prototype, so no matter the site is occupied or not, like we can still like testify and explain to our stuff. So how can we can just disregard the things happening.
Okay, you don't think it makes sense just to switch it back to the initial lot, portion the initial lot instead?
Yeah,
The initial lot is okay. So we can find another site, but in the initial lot is good.
so
Yeah, like the corner that section that Hayden has there.
yeah, actually, so the one on the left is the one that we proposed last time as shown in the email, but like we try to see if like the neighboring lots, the rather polygonal boundary like site would be better. So we just try to do the arrangement for the same set. So it's basically work for both sites or even similar sites with similar area coverage. So I think that would be fine. And and Gavin also checked about like the standard size of the unit, right?
Yeah, for plant prefab, they spec that like 14 feet by 40 feet is pretty much the largest they do. I have seen other companies that will do a longer one past 40 feet, but since these guys operate in LA, they probably know their stuff. So that seems like a good dimension to go with.
Yes. So yeah. So for now, like we're going to work on like a 1-bedroom module and like a 2-bedroom module, like which is based on the dimensions that Gavin just mentioned, like the 14 feet times 40, and the clear headroom would be we set to like 10 feet, just to, but because like something that is about 10 is kind of like quite a lot as a residential use. So as you can see, like the 1-bedroom layout is actually kind of similar as the one that we showed last time on Miro. So like the core, like the area or the wall which contains like water surfaces, pumping and drainage would be concentrated on one part, which is indicated in red. So for a 2-bedroom, it's basically like two units of one bedroom module combined together, but it is just a kind of tentative layout because like since it has more room, so the only constraint is about the location of the washroom or like the surfaces that requires pumping and other stuff. And yeah, and just for some figures, like the 1-bedroom unit would take 560 square foot, and like this 2-bedroom unit is just like 2 times of that number. So here we are trying to propose like a wide complex which consists of like a 3 segments. Like the rightmost is like the shorter one, which contains like 3 units, like 2 at on the first floor and the 1 second 2-bedroom above. And then the middle chunk has 5 units. Like the second floor has 2 1-bedroom units, and then the top floor would have a 2-bedroom unit. And then for this one would be similar, but just the floor above the ground are all 2-bedroom units. So it would be like a total of 12 units. So for here, we are trying to make use of the gaps between the area of like the floors above the ground, like to create some sort of a communal courtyard, so that like people can travel from the ground to their units, and there's some kind of like a public space that the residents can use. And the staircase is just like a tentative position, like we can place it maybe if there's any other kind of constraints or stuff. But so we also consider like since the ADA requirements like has to provide like as access for like people with disability. So these 2 towers is would be elevators, but yeah, since like the less elevator the better. So I think like we would like find another way, like yeah.
I looked into the some text. I'm not sure if it's the definitive one, but it was in the ADA guidebook, and I posted it like below near my project. But essentially what they say is if you are under 3 stories or less than 3,000 square foot per floor, you do not need an elevator.
Okay.
So I would assume that would mean that like the 3rd floor, which is the elevator accessible one, would have to be less than 3,000 feet. So we can look into that.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And so like the purple ones are the parking spaces, which like for the requirements, we have to provide 1 car park space per unit. So there will be 12. And like for both like sites, it should be able like to fit within the clearance from the site, the lot boundaries that are required from the local code. So yes, so that would be our progress. And maybe we can provide a more detailed dimension for like the engineering team or so, like to investigate like about the routing, or like if there's any kind of problems that you may think of. Like as you can see, like the red walls are concentrated, like it's more or less connected all together. So like there would be, this would try to minimize like the routing required for this one. So for here, you can see it's a little bit disposition, but like the major parameter is also overlapped with the one below, which is like the 1-bedroom unit. It's just a tiny extension of the wall. So I guess that would be fine. And then, so this one is also overlaps perfectly.
Did that one have like a rooftop deck on the?
So this one, since like this floor, there's only 2 stories for this part, and then we have to connect, like there's access for staircase for the other side. So it's just a proposal, like let's say if there's any kind of like a communal roof space, or maybe just something like a solar panel maintenance space that is easily accessible. Yes, but it's all up to like if there's anything supplementary that we would like to add in order to improve the energy performance or whatsoever required to make our design okay. Yes, it's so it may need engineering team advice or suggestions what to put, or if not, then we can put some more recreational stuff like for the betterment of the residents' living standard or so. Yeah.
Should we actually mirror the configuration or just cover it?
Maybe I can show a better. Oops. Where is it? Okay. So this one would be like the first floor. The only problem that is kind of apparent is like the access or like the openings for these two, since it only has one facing that is open to the exterior, and this would be the second floor. So it's basically units being mirrored. So, and then the third floor is basically mirrored as well. So, yeah. So that's some kind of like massing arrangement that we have been working on.
Did you work on it with Alan?
Huh?
Did you work on it with Alan, or is it?
I just make it. Yeah, the based on like the very rough unit arrangement we talked about on Monday, and then we just visualize it. It's also posted on Miro with several screenshots, so you can have a look on that if you kind of skipped it, or yeah. Is there any questions from? Yes.
If there is enough area for solar panels, like there's enough to generate enough electricity for
I think of course like the roof space would get like the solar panels, but we also, if it is not sufficient, there's not sufficient space, I think maybe we can use something like is it a wood, is it something called a deck, or like a plane?
It feels like you could just extend.
Yeah, extend from the roof that
Uh-huh.
it doesn't entirely cover the courtyard underneath, but like as I know there is something like there are solar panels like it infuses with the glass, so it's not, it's somehow transparent, but also allows like sunlight to penetrate, and also create some kind of like a pattern, like to create sunshade. And
Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
cool application.
yeah, I think that may be possible, but I'm not sure if that's technically feasible, or if it's like it would.
I'm just asking.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, but that can also be an option, like to work on the design as well as to satisfy the energy requirement.
Yeah, I can do a really quick one. Mine's definitely not as detailed as Hayden's model. I just did some kind of simpler studies, and I have like 5.
So I just shot sharing, or
Yeah, I can.
okay.
Cool. Okay. Green. So yeah, here's what I put on Miro. So there's essentially kind of 5 options. They're all based on the same like 14 by 40 by 10 foot container. I think I chose a slightly smaller portion of the lot. It's still the kind of L section at the top, but it cuts off the rightmost L bit, so it's just a rectangle. So it's a little tighter. Most of the configurations just have parking in the back, like Hayden's. Generally, the bottom floor is just all kind of these units, and I would imagine 2 would go together in each of these. And that makes around like a 950 square foot apartment, so definitely a 2-bedroom. Most of it is just on how the 2nd and 3rd floors work. I like the idea of having a central access up to kind of a platform, and then kind of like Hayden was doing, eliminating kind of corridors, because that's like buildable space that costs money that we don't need to have in Southern California. So usually there's like a central deck area and then another set of stairs that ascends to the next level. So in this version, you've got a second set of stairs that runs parallel to the first to access the 3rd story, and then there's the 2nd story has a deck out in front, and the 3rd story has a deck out in front. The 2nd story has a deck and back with a little cantilever there. This is similar, but like a U configuration instead. Again, similar, but like a bisected configuration. These were kind of 2 studies. One is like a more of a central courtyard type thing where there's like a light well in the middle, and one is just kind of a stacked kind of shipping container approach. And then this last one was like an idea for like an offset kind of dingbat style approach where you actually tuck the parking below units and then you kind of step them back. And so they get a little smaller as they rise up. And then, you'd still have the 2 units next to each other being part of the same apartment. I can go into SketchUp. So this is, kind of what they look like in 3D. Definitely pretty basic in terms of the massing. But it doesn't involve a lot of variation in terms of the containers, which is good in terms of standardization. Obviously, this one has like a ton of surface area. it's fun, but it's well, the thing is, like, you're already making the whole container, so and it just requires like actually placing insulation in some of the areas that overhang. But it's not as bad as like a northern climate would be. But yeah, it's more like a designy approach. I think all of these are a little more basic than Hayden's. But definitely some of them have more like solar panel / roof access than others. Like this one here obviously only provides like basically 1 roof because all the other ones are subsumed. And there's kind of varying amounts. This one provides plenty. Yeah, so it's all different options. Cool.
The idea that we want to make a bigger, just have to double, so
Right, it's more flexible in terms of partitioning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, these don't have elevators, so we would have to try and use that exemption. And I think there's not an easy way to make all the floors accessible like the elevators by any of these. So
Yeah.
you'd have to do either take off the top story or make sure that like it was less than 3,000 square feet, which it should be doable actually. In terms of like how many apartments, is roughly 3 2-bedroom apartments or like, yes, 5 to 6 1-bedrooms.
Like, what is considered a 3rd floor? Like the 2 buildings together? Or just one single building?
What do you mean?
Like, for example, if you have like 2 house, like is only 1 house needs to be lower than 3,000 square feet or some.
I think it's the whole floor. So
Yeah.
so in this thing, it's like this whole teal section.
It depends on like the level that we make the cut. let's say the blue one has a total area of like a certain square foot. If it exceeds 3,000, then it has to get elevator let's say for the entire building. It cannot like be selectively to have like an elevator access for the second floor but not the first floor or vice versa.
Yes.
So for example, for the third floor, the green one, like, so it's the 6 units together to be less than 2,000 square feet or.
If the whole floor has to be
Yeah.
less than 3,000 square feet. So in this case, yeah, there's 6 units on the third floor. So the whole third floor less than 6,000.
How difficult is it?
So this is, sorry, less than 3,000. This is just about 3,000 right here. So I think we'd have to be a little less than this, but it seems doable given the size of our building. Obviously, if we did a bigger one, then the system would not be as expandable, or would have to go down to 2, or would have to add an elevator some way. So
Yeah.
The only thing that I read about the accessibility requirement is in like public spaces. So
Let's say
to the actual units, it
Uh-huh.
doesn't have to be. But say on the third floor, we do put like a terrace or something, then it has to be
yeah
accessible.
that
I think that's the.
yeah, that is a part of the public space.
yeah,
I
I was
remember
just using this rule here. It didn't specifically list like the difference between residential and commercial.
You also have to make the second floor, your 300 square feet.
I'm honestly not sure how it works. Probably.
Like it's a pool. Every floor has
Does it say Oria?
Yeah.
Yeah, per floor. Yeah, so I mean, it's not impossible with this layout, but we're like on the edge, so wouldn't be as expandable. Cool.
I'm thinking, are we able to actually combine 2 adapters from proposal? So then like use your method to kind of reduce like the complexity of the layout. This is a sufficient part, but it basically use a more standard way to like create the complexity of the layout. So this core will be to the center. We only have to make one kind of prototype, which is, and then we just have to narrow it, so it will be 2 kind of prototypes. Now, if we want the bigger units of the agents, we just have to write it in and make the center.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think we can achieve the complexity of the classes through the chemistry. I think it would be more effective for. I think it also can like create a public space. Just have to try out. How about this? And we can try to do a different method.
Yeah, I like the rotated approach. Like you could even push them all the way to corner instead of centered if you wanted to make a larger overhang or a larger between area.
Like for this one, the only disadvantage is like the gap or like the space between in between the units is kind of small, so it cannot really create some kind of like communal area.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would be good to like cover the. Before,
A covered parking lot.
yeah.
And they're just putting a roof over the parking lot, you're saying? Or actually having it like beneath units?
If we were to do, like in the other examples, we could, install like solar panel
Yeah.
covering for those ones as well.
Actually, it's not really.
No, it's not nice. And it could deflect into the. I think that maybe we should have like engineering B team kind of look into what kind of surface area we need in terms of solar panels to provide energy to 12 units in total. And we can also kind of see like what fits or which designs kind of fit or how we can combine like, the best aspects.
And maybe like for the structural concerns, like since
Exactly.
like we are doing some kind of like cantilever,
Mhm.
so it would be a lot better like to see if there's any kind of limit for cantilever to do the job, since we are not making structures in situ, but like I guess not every walls or floors for the modular units are structural, so it may have to consider if that can, like the cantilever can sustain when they are stacked up by 3 stories.
Yeah, and if it needs to be a timber frame or a steel frame,
Yes. Or
As a
if
result.
there's, like the floors has to make additional support or whatsoever.
I mean, if we can minimize the use of beams like that, it will cut down costs a lot as well.
And I think another thing that we may need extra attention is like since all of the roof of each unit has different degree of exposure to the exterior instead of like perfectly stacked together. So we may need to think about like waterproofing as well as let's say all the roofs are default to be like waterproof for external weather as well as the insulation
Yeah.
that functions like walls. Yeah.
So you would be curious in finding out, the surface area required to power 12 units utilizing solar panels,
Yes.
Yeah.
as well as, if there are any like structural issues with kind of like the cantilever in terms of like the design for. the
Yes.
designs.
And Yeah, I think, I don't know if the layout, the tentative layout of the unit would be sufficient for you guys like to estimate the energy use or not. You think it's enough? Just personally,
But for one household, use, on average, a South Pole household, and use it customer. I think, like on average, a household requires 4.56 square meters of solar panels. Household of three. Yeah, so it's like 55 square meters of solar. Like around just below 600 square.
Just below 600 square feet. Okay,
that's quite,
little,
yeah.
yeah,
There shouldn't be a problem with any of the design.
no,
We were talking about like average household. people, right?
Yeah.
With our design, we're gonna be working on minimizing that energy usage, making it
Yes.
stuff more efficient.
It's not a household of three.
Right, so these would be very kind of ballpark. Kind of, I don't know if it'd be an overestimate, but, you know. Not every house is gonna be designed the way that we're approaching it in terms of energy saving.
Yeah, yeah, let's go through the whole chart.
Yeah, I can share.
We'll put eliminating elevators. Might have a solution.
600 square feet is not a good estimate because I assume that you have 24 hours or something.
Oh, yeah, so twice as much then? A little more than twice as, a little less than twice as much? So like 12,000?
Baselines will be 1,800, which is still like below, way below, not way below. But we have three, we were trying to limit the area to 3,000 square feet, right?
Right.
And like in 3 times of that would be like 1,800, which is still in the.
yeah, that should be enough.
It's not a significant.
I think we also need to consider like ventilation, like natural ventilation of the apartments. Like in the first one that you showed, like the 2 units, I think that would be an issue. The one on the first floor, the ones in the center. But that's something we can assess.
Yeah, maybe we can make use of the utility core to do the ventilation depth, do the air ventilation
Yeah,
and emits on the roof. I think that can also be a way.
Mhm.
So that's why we stick with we say kitchen,
everything.
yeah, and then like a washroom all together, and we share the same wall or like share the same surface in order to reduce additional routines or
Mhm.
Does anyone know where Tomas's notes are? He had something. Oh, they're there. I got them. Yeah, climate consultant.
and other groups as well.
Yeah, what we pretty much did for our meeting, was we looked at kind of the design categories, right? Highlighted the ones that are like within our wheelhouse and kind of elaborated more so on those. It's in a Google document in our folder. So I guess now we would just want to try and translate most of that to like this.
There is no big, any big conflict.
Yeah, I'll post a link to the climate consultant software that Tomas mentioned. I've heard about it before too. Probably it just like aggregates a bunch of visuals on like the site characteristics. So like and recommend some like passive strategies. So I'll post it down in my section.
Do you think we should have a code that event?
Yeah. If we could do one, I know, maybe Tuesday evening. Because a lot of people might be leaving Wednesday as well. Or just, yeah, Zoom. Or we just do Zoom as well.
So like, I think, yeah, maybe
Like,
something like that.
So.
Because like the project summary deals on the 30th, is this? Yes. Yes.
Should we go over that document again just to remind each team what they need?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there is somewhere like, it's been over there.
Maybe you can share the screen if you can
I put that-
open the document.
I put it down.
It's under PM.
Kind of like put out each category. And then, like, subsequent bullets.
It should be called Media E, one of those two, yeah.
This one's
Those
slightly
are
big.
the templates.
There's
yeah.
some that I wasn't too sure of.
Yeah, no, but that list we had,
Oh, yeah.
is that this one? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, let's just run down this one real quick. Toss me the HDMI.
we talk about building envelope. That seems more. It has a little bit. With like the envelope itself.
Cool. So I thought we'd just go through kind of the project planning doc that the PM team had for the summary. So for the architecture team, zoning and program, we have, I guess, the majority of the program in terms of like the 3-story aspect, the fact that we have to be under 3,000, the fact they're trying to avoid the elevator. I think probably do surface parking if we can do it. We have the location. I think we just need the exact configuration. So that's the key thing for architecture.
Are we set on the number of units? Like 12, we're gonna do for sure, regardless of the design.
How many did most of the designs incorporate? Like, I think we're mostly doing these, well, I guess we're doing a combination of 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom.
Yes,
So like,
it depends.
you know, the majority of mine were like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, like roughly. I think we can fit 12 in.
12.
Where did this go? There. Okay, so yeah, we can answer that. We might look at transit-oriented zones. Stuff. So 12 units need exact distribution. Bedrooms and size. I'll say square foot. So the solar orientation, I guess that's largely established here. Like it's just gonna be flat on top on the 3rd story. So the engineering team's gonna, focus on making sure that the orientation of the solar panels is gonna be on that 3rd story. And
Like based on the site, like how the site is oriented.
I did. Yeah, I researched in orientation.
Okay. Did you find anything? Or did you add it to the document?
No, it was before we chose. It was before we chose it.
Okay. Okay.
But I can do it.
Yeah, like how, just like, are we gonna stand the angle of solar panels, like to the south?
Is it, yeah, and the angle of the leaning should be equal to latitude. Like, how far is it from the equator?
Okay. Yeah, and then I guess ideally we would know roughly this square footage we need so we can calculate the cost roughly for the estimate.
So with the roof, like, would we need to consider like mounted PVs, or would they just be kind of like flat on the? Will the roof be like slanted, like you mentioned, to have that, or would we have like mounted?
I think a flat roof probably makes the most sense for this project. Yeah. Yeah. So there'll be like a 3 to 5% grade or something like that, but basically nothing. So the panels themselves would probably have to be like tilted slightly and then spaced.
Yeah, mounted.
Or mounted if we figure that like we want to optimize it more and better with like the direction of that that's
Square foot to get cost estimate. The floor to wall ratio, that should be pretty easy to calculate from the architecture team. The location of windows, that's definitely more specific. I think that's going to depend on solar gains and stuff. Like in general, I think we want to, place to the north and south and then shade the south as an overall strategy. If we look at the climate consultant stuff, it recommends some general kind of strategies. So yeah, sun shading is definitely one of them.
passive design strategies,
They also recommend some thermal mass stuff.
systems, it's kind of
They do say natural ventilation is pretty good, so we can definitely use that
Mhm.
at the site.
space conditioning with like the building structure system.
So does it mean like the internal heating would be like a very important issue for us to deal with, or since the percentage is quite high, like it's almost 50%?
Which one? The internal heat gain?
Yeah, 109. It's 49.1% of the design part.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's heat gain through windows, right? Is that what this is saying? I can look more into the software to get a,
Or maybe engineering teams can have a look like what this, like this issue, about this issue is like if any kind of systems that can deal with it.
Yeah, this was like
That, apart from like architectural.
Yeah. Would the engineering team, you guys be interested in like looking at this software and evaluating some of the design strategies it proposes? It's the like climate consultant thing that was developed by UCLA that Tomas recommended. I put it in Miro. But basically, if you just enter our site, it kind of gets the weather file, and it kind of shows you the percent effectiveness of employing like each of these types of strategies. So that would be like a good jumping off point for us, I think.
And like the one that takes the most part is the internal heat gain. So I think the engineering team can figure out like if there's any kind of mechanical system that can deal with this issue or alleviate the problem.
I think what it means here is that we actually want internal heat gain because these are design strategies.
Yeah.
So internal
Does it
heat
mean
gain,
for like something like heating.
I think it's to offset, yeah, potential heating actually via solar gain. I think we'd have to look more at, I don't know how to actually pull up like a detailed. It's in, sorry. All right, here. I can put that somewhere else, maybe. That's a little bigger. Put it down here. Cool. Okay, back to the. So yeah, I think that type of thing will determine the location of the windows, but it's not critical for the project summary. The overall orientation, I think that's not really going to be like, it's more site specific. There's a street, so we orient towards the street and stuff. Yeah, we can worry about the software later. Engineering team A was going to look into, I guess, materials and manufacturing for prefab. Did that get done?
Kaiji in the, I don't know if she did it for the prefab, but for like the structural aspect. Okay, she said she added a couple notes to the engineering section in Miro, basically saying the structure will likely be a wood framed 2 to 3 story residential building. We could definitely incorporate CLT if necessary. For example, large span beams or main structural columns. The foundation would be slab on grade, typically 4-inch concrete slab with number 4 rebar spaced out at 12 inches. I'll continue to look into other possible construction materials.
Okay, that sounds good. I think we still have to somehow deal with,
The prefab.
yeah, prefab and like less concrete and stuff, but that seems like a good start. I guess we can, for now, when we're doing our cost estimates, just quote that type of foundation.
Yeah. Obviously, it's gonna change once it's more detailed, but just for a basic cost analysis.
Yeah, and then B team was looking at mech, electrical, plumbing. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything key there besides we're gonna try and locate all those things in that mechanical core area. And then obviously all the cost estimate needs to be done. So we'll be meeting, the PM team's gonna be meeting. I did talk to Mao and she recommended another third-year student who knew RS means very well. So
Okay.
like going forward, we can use them as a resource as well as Todd. Maybe we can try and meet them to do this cost estimate. I actually haven't tried the software yet, but that seems like the way forward. Alan, you did the cost estimating before, right?
Yeah.
What were you doing for that?
We actually don't use any software,
Yeah, it was just a rough estimate.
just run that, and then at the end we use.
Right. I mean, I think this estimate does need to be more precise than our initial one though, right?
And it will be like a list of material, a list of like mechanical systems, a list of like piping, and we have to choose. We have to provide this.
Got it. Do we know where to get basically that list and where to get the costs for each of the components on that list?
We can reach out to the Anderson.
I mean, I think Todd would be a good resource for that. Like, maybe we can meet with him as soon as possible to get that financial estimate and see what he recommends. If he recommends doing a full RS means thing or,
But for that, does it mean we have to get the materials or like all the items we need for him to fill in, or we just get a template for?
we should, I think it'd be ideal to have the exact final massing.
Yeah.
That would probably be enough just to know like walls and general wall assembly. I think we're just doing a standard, like maybe a 2x6 wall with insulation. We're doing that concrete slab. The floor and ceiling, I guess, are going to be duplicated as well. I don't know in terms of insulation for that, like if certain units, like the top unit would have I guess the roof itself would,
Yeah, it has to take extra insulation.
I also texted our Discord for PM with another software called Marshall Swift evaluation that my mom could help us out with. For
Okay.
cost
Yeah,
analysis.
we
So
can-
I'll ask her again.
if it's any simpler.
Yeah. I'll ask her to like open it and see like what info she needs. So you can get like the best or most accurate cost analysis for the information. we have.
Okay, so like here, going down the exact deliverables, we've got location, check. We've got climate zone, we've got lot size, we've got basically building size. So this is need to finalize. Number of stories, check. Number of people, depending on the exact unit we choose. So we need to do that.
Is that the max number of people? Or
I assume,
we could fit like 2 people in the 1 bedroom, and 3 at the 2 bedroom, no? Or we just assume?
I don't know, actually.
Because in your
Yeah,
massing,
it's,
it was
it's just
a
like a very typical
yeah.
placement. So I'm not sure if there's like a faker or like a standard number for the calculation.
Okay, architecture team can look into that. So for the engineering project highlights, did the engineering team have a good idea of like what those might be at this point?
So last meeting, we had, or we compiled a list. and so forth. So each person would have taken a subject under the engineering spec, and so they will be information out. And we're just saying these just need to be the basic overall like ideas, kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah, it just highlights what systems we might use. It's not binding or anything.
Yeah, those categories that you're listing under engineering, aren't they just repeated in like 4 through 8, I guess?
Yeah, they totally are. I was not looking down there.
So if you go to the engineering B folder, during our meetings, we went through like the main, if you look, it's 1119. That's the name of it, 1119 notes. We kind of went through and elaborated on more of the specifics underneath the design categories that apply for us. So you can kind of ignore the highlighted things. The blue highlights are stuff that we felt that pretty confident was in like our wheelhouse type of thing. There are some stuff that we weren't too sure on, like if you go to integrated performance, we kind of saw that as kind of like maybe something we can all provide input on, because it talks about kind of the interdisciplinary, kind of like how one affects the other or one informs the other. So that one we could get more like of a, I guess, elaborate on kind of like what would be the specifics in regards to that design category. But most of the other ones, for engineering B, at least we tried to elaborate on the specifics for each of them. So in the PDF, it's kind of like each category has like bullet points, and then the sub bullet points are a little bit more the specifics into it. So that's what we were able to do last meeting.
This was great. Cool. So we can basically just put this directly into the product summary.
Yeah.
How like how confident are you in all these? Are these things you're exploring or things that you think definitely will do?
Most of the stuff is filled, and we feel pretty. These were just kind of like most of the ideas and brainstorming. We just kind of like put it all there, so it's not so much like we vetted each one of them. Our ideas for most of them. So I'm not 100% sure we would just be like satisfied with this kind of like copying and pasting this into like a final product summary. It's more just like all the brainstorming ideas and come up with. And some of them aren't elaborated on, so we would want to just make sure that everything is addressed the way that we need to.
Okay. So I guess going forward, maybe your next meeting, you can like elaborate on these to your whatever level you're comfortable with.
Yeah, it should be. It shouldn't take as long as like the entire like last point of the meeting. We just kind of like go through each of them, make sure that we're comfortable with it, and we can let y'all know when we get like a finalized one. But we should be pretty close to that point.
Yeah, here's like what one of the example ones look like. So, it's not a ton, right? It's like,
It's
2
super basic.
to 3 sentences on each of these topics. So you definitely don't have to like know exactly what's going on, just a general idea of how to achieve these or what strategy you're going to use to achieve these.
I mean, we could, since we are generating this report, we could just like skim through that document and kind of just, I don't know, write three or sentences that incorporates like other ideas, like a general, because it's not super specific.
Right. So sorry, the engineering team could go through their document and basically write these out for each of them.
No, we'll do it.
We'll do it?
PM,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that just seems fine. I think we have this one.
Enough information.
This is specific enough, right?
Yeah.
I guess we'll contact you if we want any specific stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that covers. That we,
So in our in engineering, we only like each of us only got like one sub.
Yeah, from like the engineering A aspects that we would need for the document. So like for now.
Yeah, so
So-
actually did engineering even.
They
in
might
this one,
have,
all the blue ones are B, right?
Blue ones, we were pretty like, confident that that's in our wheelhouse. There are some that are not highlighted that we're not too sure about. The green ones
so yeah,
were
that's engineering
what we
A.
thought was engineering A, but engineering A can definitely provide input.
Yeah, so
And
like
some of these
here we
overlaps
have
as well.
material and structural materials and structural system. And then weather and earthquake risk is further down.
There is a lot of.
Resilience.
There we go.
You can still say something about
Right, I mean,
I'm sure that we can.
so A hasn't actually put in the responses to these
No,
yet.
no, so this is engineering B's notes
Yeah.
from
this
their
is-
meeting. I just made this list from our meeting.
Okay, so we still have to get A's
Yeah.
stuff
yeah.
back. Okay, so let's,
So, yeah, the purpose of like the highlighting is just more to identify what was in our wheelhouse. But
Yeah.
it's not like a hard, like, hey, like, you can only like, elaborate or add on to this, right? So we just want to make sure that most of the bullet points are like elaborated on sufficiently. And then I guess PMs would just try to kind of condense it into like
Yeah.
identifying the key. So this document wasn't like shared with engineer A until recently. I just thought about it. This was just something we came up with in our meeting. So that's why some of the bullets are elaborated on.
okay.
I think I think our teammates are the thing. Like if the PM team is not more deliverable.
When you say put stuff in the Miro, do you just mean in the general flow chart?
Yeah. Because I haven't met my teammates.
I mean, there's the stuff from the case studies, I guess.
Wait,
Is there other stuff?
no, another flow chart, like the program.
In the programming?
The green ones are for engineering.
Okay,
And we just need
Okay,
to
yeah, so like
translate
this is-
kind of what we were working on to this architecture program. So,
This is his. This is a template.
okay, that's just the sample for this. Okay.
So it's not.
One, two.
So architecture still has to go in and put the experience stuff, integrated performance. It's kind of the teams working together. Durability and resilience could use a bit more.
Yeah, that's.
would you like to have, would the goal to
I'll-
be to
I'll
try to
remind.
have most of this filled out before PMs beyond this?
That would be great.
Um,
That'd be really great.
Does this make it kind of like simpler to write out kind of the design category?
Yeah, I think there's a better organization for
Yeah, no.
collaboration.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, for our, like, by next meeting, just like all the sub teams should revisit the 10 aspects and just input it into this.
Yeah, if you guys can just
chart.
translate your stuff off that doc into the Miro.
Okay, so do we have to fill out every place? Because like for mine, I'm doing the acoustic design thing.
You don't have to just like feel like there is some.
Just do anything
Yeah.
that you think you can do. Just put it.
Encourage the rest of your team to do the same.
Okay, so we should try and get this chart completed by Tuesday, Wednesday, the latest. So then over break, before break, we can at least get started on the summer. Yes.
That would
yeah,
be nice.
Exactly.
And the website, the old program, you ask to analyze the climate.
It's under the links, no?
Yeah, it's in Miro.
So that's not
also-
really-
Also Tomas's. Oh, it's not a link?
Oh. What do I see? Oh, I see it. The figure source.
You got it, yeah, up here.
And then you say, like, what aspects are?
Well, basically, it just recommends a bunch of passive strategies and shows a bunch of visualizations for the site. So, yeah, of the weather conditions.
Sorry.
You want to do presentations on
Why would you? No, kind of just like to what we could integrate, like how useful,
It's different techniques.
yeah, to integrate
What kind
into
of
the
technique
design.
We put into the building design or like any system that we impose.
Or is it just like this Windows?
Yeah, just download that. And it'll basically ask you for the zip code for the site. So input that, it's 90018. And that just takes the climate zone for that area. Super basic. And then we just specify that it's like residential. And it gives a bunch of like kind of predetermined strategies based on the climate zone. So like it says, sun shading for windows is, and it basically tallies it up as a percentage of like the total energy need. So I think it does need in terms of like heating and cooling. So like shading for windows can account for like 20% of cooling, I'm gonna assume. And then like thermal mass also is gonna apply to probably cooling in this climate. They have like evaporative cooling, they have natural ventilation can be about 10%, which is great. So we can like look into a strategy for that. The internal heat gain, I think that's gonna be like solar gain. Could look into that as well. My thing just quit.
Download it, enter the zip code, and it will kind of highlight those design strategies as kind of like a percentage of. Like,
I think it basically estimates the energy need for the whole year in terms of heating and cooling. And then it says like, what kind of strategies can we use to meet these needs? And it looks at like passive ones, and then it'll list active ones too, as well.
For the project summary.
It's just like a base to build off of, like somewhere to start from.
For our project summary, or John, if you would make like a new one. Like yeah. Okay, I can do that, and so that we can start filling it in. I'll do like a under PM, like a shared Google Doc.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, just to make sure the task is together.
Yeah, engineering team, please finish the Miro before the PM meet Wednesday. Architecture team, please finalize the site and everything, and also fill out your Miro stuff. And PM team, we got to do the financials.
Yeah.
And aggregate everything on Wednesday. Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, something.
Are we just like, are we sticking to the subway?
Yeah, and just put it onto the Miro board.
And what about things? Like there's something that, they think that might be our.
Oh, no. So when you laid it out in your document, you listed out this like very specific. I kind of just like truncated that just so you can have like the general picture. So if you look on our doc or from our meeting, one second. There, I attached the document, which is the super specific, which you can like look more to see like what it's asking about acoustical design strategies, for example. But this is like just the general point.
So there'll be
Sorry?
So that would be enough.
Yeah, yeah.
For like architecture, I think we can end the meeting officially. But for architecture, what's the best way to select the final building, the final configuration? Do you guys think?
I mean, there's Monday.
Or maybe we can make a revised scheme after this, and then we can discuss it. Like. Final one.
Okay, do you guys have like 10 or 20 minutes to like hang out and like do some massing stuff? Or do you have to run?
Yeah, I'm free, so, yeah.
Okay, maybe Hayden and I will do a little bit of massing right now. Try and set the final configuration, post it to the board, and then do detailing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for financial, we just need to, I think contacting Todd is probably the biggest thing. And then actually getting the RS Mean software is probably second to that.
Is there a, do we have to purchase that software?
It's available through Solar Decathlon, but
Okay.
I think we have to do something to get it. I
And
will-
then they're requiring us to use that one specifically for this?
No,
Or no?
not required. Yeah, we have to email them with our stuff.
Okay.
Should be doable. We have to select a single user for the license. I think we can just kind of make a Solar Decathlon account and give it to whoever's working on it at the time.
Okay.
Probably, right?
Oh, you just like the login credentials?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool, meeting adjourned. Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna send in the Discord.